I was standing on the corner, a troubled mind and a worried soul. Got to listening to a stranger talking about something we all know. Yeah, he was saying something like this. He said, look at here. On the TV, talking circles, Hollywood smile and fancy clothes. I see their lips move, saying nothing, but there's something I want to know. You can talk that talk, but can you walk that walk? Mr. Politician Man. Yeah, you can talk that talk, but can you walk that walk? I don't believe you can. No, I don't believe you can, man. Man, it's tough all over. Out on the street, winds are blowing, daddy's struggling, children crying. Get face to face with the problem. Quit dancing round, wasting time. You can talk that talk, but can you walk that walk? Mr. Politician Man. You can talk that talk, but can you walk that walk? I don't believe you can. You can talk that talk, but can you walk that walk? Mr. Politician Man. You can talk that talk, but can you walk that walk?
Hey, you guys in the back, don't be shy. Today we're all brothers. I don't care what club you're in. This is pretty impressive turnout. I'm glad you guys all weren't at the COC meeting yesterday. We would have been standing in the middle of the street. So how's it going, everybody? It's a great day to be a Texan, isn't it?
Yeah, buddy. Yeah.
Beautiful day for a motorcycle ride.
Yeah.
And that's what we're here for. You know, we're bikers. We back the motorcycling community. Just so everybody knows, I'm the director of the Texas Legislative Strike Force. We work on behalf of the motorcycling community to get legislation passed. Make sure that our membership and all other motorcyclists in the state, whether they participate or not, remain safe. And we reduce the amount of accidents and issues involving motorcycles that cause people to get injured and fatalities. All of you have been to several funerals, I'm sure. You know exactly what I'm talking about. The Legislative Strike Force came about a few years back. We have a lot of motorcycle rights organizations in the state of Texas, and before we got everybody under one umbrella, you had disparate groups doing different things. And so, because the Texas legislature is a bill-killing machine, it's very difficult to get a bill through Congress. Now you got 5 different groups with no horsepower trying to push stuff through their own agenda. What we did was we combined the Confederation of Clubs and Independents, the U.S. Defenders. I'm the state commander of the U.S. Defenders. We combined the Texas Motorcycle Safety Coalition, the Motorcycle Riders Foundation, ABATE, and we have partnered with TxDOT. So we have members of TxDOT on the board, and we work pretty closely with the Motorcycle and ATV Safety Unit at the Department of Public Safety. And because they're the ones that are involved with the training. And so now what we do is we all get together and decide on a few things, and we go support those. We write the legislation, we get sponsors, and we do the whole legislative process here in a few months. This stuff will come out of committee, and we'll have to have people here. We're going to do a CTA, you'll know. We need people here to testify. Because without testimony, you're not going to get anything done. Somebody has to testify on behalf of our bills and explain to the legislators why it's necessary. And so we need people to participate. Even if you don't have to testify, if you're here to testify, and there's 200 of us, that's pretty impressive. If 2 of us show up, not so much. So if we're going to get our stuff passed, you guys have to participate a couple of times. We're not asking for too much, you know, but we're asking for a little bit of help. When it's time, we need to go get it done like we always do. So with that being said, I'd like to thank, we have a lot of people from out of town. We got people from New York, we got ABATE, we have people from the National Council of Clubs, National Profiling Project, the Motorcycle Profiling Project. And there's people from all over the country here to help us unify the motorcycling community across the United States so we can get stuff done on a national level as well. And so with that being said, I'd like to call up Gloria. Everybody, this is Gloria Cadena.
My nerves. Oh, see, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we twilight's mask gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Thank you. That was amazing. I wish I could sing like that. Pastor Frank. Pastor Frank is with Shields of Faith. As you guys all know, they're victims in Waco. This last year, Shields of Faith has been helping the families out, paying their bills and whatnot. I'm sure he'll explain that. And, you know, those people need all the help they can get. Here's Pastor Frank.
Everybody excited about what you're doing here today? Yeah! You know, it was at one of these get-togethers that I first started realizing the importance of coming together and working on the rights that we were supposed to have. I'm Pastor Frank. I'm the chaplain of the COC&I Region 1. And yes, we're going to pray, but I just want to take a minute. We don't always get the chance to say thank you to the Confederation of Clubs and Independents in Texas for the opportunity they've given us to serve the biker community as Christian patch holders. We started serving years ago, but about 5 years ago, we started establishing Christian unity groups in the COC&Is across the state. It was these Christian unity groups that allowed us to respond quickly to the incident that happened in Waco. We had legitimate chaplains across the state, and we were able to respond to the need within a matter of a couple of weeks. We're still responding to that need. And I just want to say thank you to every one of you that are continuing to support that. People from across the nation have come together, they've sent funds, and we've been able to keep food on the table and a lot of times keep people's lights from being turned off because they've run out of resources. We're still doing that. It's an honor to be a part of a community that's coming together. And I just want to say, again, as a Christian patch holder, to the COC&I, to the motorcycle community, thank you for letting us be a part. I want to say also that, again, there still is a need. It's ongoing for the people that were involved in the incident in Waco. Shield of Faith Waco Aid, we're still providing resources to people in need. A lot of the people have moved on. I mean, they've gotten other jobs, they've gotten different path, but a lot of them aren't making near the money that they were, and probably it's changed their lives. I don't know if you know how much their lives have been impacted. Today, let's just take just a moment and uncover. I'm going to ask you to just bow your head, and we're going to pray. But first, I want to have just a moment of silence for those of our brothers and sisters we lost over the last year, for our armed services people we've lost. Let's just have a moment of silence, and then I'll pray. Father, I thank you for the blessings that you've bestowed upon us. Thank you, God, that you caused this community to come together. I pray not only for your blessings today, but God, for your guidance for our leaders. God, give them wisdom as they lead us. Lord, help us to be able to follow where they lead. I pray that you'd give us favor with every bill, everything that we put forward, that you'd give us favor, that you'd grant us favor with the legislators, with the people that work with it, all of the people around us. I pray one other thing. I pray that you help us to continue to come closer together, not just in Texas, but across this nation, so that we can see these things happen the way they need to happen. I pray, God, as people leave here today, that you'll give everybody a safe ride home. God, I pray that you'd bless this whole meeting with your presence. I ask in Jesus' name. And all God's people said, Amen.
Thank you, Pastor Frank. You know, he mentioned the Shields of Faith. If you Google it, they know who they are. If anybody would like to donate any money. What I do is I reduce my amount of alcohol intake by half, and so half the money I used to spend on alcohol goes to that fund.
There you go. I'm just gonna have to make more money.
And I feel a lot better for it, in more ways than one. And now I'd like to call our distinguished guest. He is the spokesperson for the National Council of Clubs. He started the Motorcycle Profiling Project. He's a very prolific defender of motorcycle rights across the U.S. and has passed motorcycle profiling bills in the state of Washington and has assisted other states with getting their bills passed for motorcycle profiling, and he's here to help us with ours as well. David Devereaux. I'm going to move this.
It's a little warm for a Northwest guy in January, but I appreciate it. Thanks for inviting me back to the great state of Texas. It's the second time I've been here on the steps of the Capitol. Consider it an honor, and I appreciate it. This is amazing. There are more people here than have been in any state where we've successfully passed legislation to address the issue of motorcycle profiling, which is Washington and Maryland. There are more people standing here right now than were necessary to pass those bills unanimously in both those states without a single no vote in our state houses. I can see no reason why the same thing cannot be done here. In response to the motorcycle profiling epidemic in America, 30 U.S. congressmen have recently proposed House Resolution 831, which sends a directive to every state in America to adopt a law addressing the issue of motorcycle profiling. It's now being recognized at our highest level of government. And one of these congressmen is your very own Dr. John Burgess, sponsored this bill because he understands that not only is it an epidemic in America, but it's an epidemic of his home state of Texas as well. Motorcycle profiling is indeed on the increase in the state of Texas. I believe it's beginning to become irrefutable. First, the National Motorcycle Profiling Survey. Have you all taken it? If you haven't, go on motorcycleprofilingproject.com and take the National Motorcycle Profiling Survey, because what it's helping us do is establish a pattern of evidence across the United States. And in Texas, this survey shows hundreds of motorcycle profiling incidents, and it documents where they occur in the state of Texas. This type of evidence is invaluable when you go to your state legislatures and argue for legislative relief. You have to do more than tell anecdotal stories. You have to show hard data and hard proof that profiling is indeed a problem and not just an anecdotal story that we all have. Independent of that, one of the things that the National Motorcycle Profiling Survey also establishes is that 80% of motorcyclists in Texas are voters. They have an impact on what happens at this state house and at the federal level. That's an extremely powerful constituency. Not very many constituencies can claim that they have an 80% voter turnout rate. 80% of motorcyclists in Texas showed up to vote for the presidential election just a short couple of months ago. To me, that's extremely impressive and also a reason why they should listen to us, and we need to emphasize this fact. There's been a pattern of evidence developing in Texas, particularly since May 17, 2015, that's egregious and it needs to stop. There are patch holders, members of motorcycle clubs who have concealed handgun licenses. They had to pass extensive background checks, yet when they get stopped, some of them are having their weapons seized and having their permits revoked for no other reason than their association with the motorcycle club, not based on any individualized action or any individualized criminal conduct. It's inexcusable, it's a baseline violation of the Second Amendment, and I think it also infringes on the First Amendment because it's based on association and the expression of freedom. In addition to that, motorcycle profiling has followed us all the way to the state capital of Texas. A short time ago, an individual present here at a motorcycle club in Austin was the victim of an egregious profiling incident. He was pulled over under the pretext of a signal violation, and even after they identified that they weren't going to issue a ticket for the said signal violation, they still required him to stand on the side of the road, disrobed him, and required him to take pictures of every single tattoo on his body. It was a baseline violation of the Fourth Amendment. It was not a reasonable duration of the stop. The reasonable suspicion was solely confined to the traffic infraction, which is a signal infraction, and keeping him on the side of the road was not justified. A civil rights lawsuit has already been filed. Things are already being done because the evidence of profiling is irrefutable. How much is the state of Texas going to pay before they implement a measure that is virtually cost-free that eliminates this problem? I think that it should be this year. What do you think? Yeah. I agree. You have a choice. The state of Texas is ground zero for issues relating to motorcycle profiling and discrimination. We don't need to even articulate why. Everyone knows since May 2015, the stereotypes about motorcycle clubs and actions of individuals are being transported to the entire community. And that general stereotype is part of why we're experiencing this increase in profiling in Texas. So you have a choice. It is a crisis. But one thing that crisis offers is an opportunity. You showed us back in 2009, and what I mean you is the motorcycle rights movement in Texas. The people standing here showed the rest of America how to consolidate grassroots manpower and be effective at our state legislatures. What you showed us in the U.S. Defenders Program fundamentally changed the basis of the motorcycle rights movement in America. Now what you need to do is learn from your own lessons. You have enough manpower here to change the schematic in the state legislature. Y'all remember Sputnik?
Yep.
Back in the early 2000s, he made the first step in this process. There is actually a law in the books that requires law enforcement to train about motorcycle profiling awareness in the state of Texas. It doesn't go very far. It's just a general training regimen. But what needs to happen is that idea needs to extend farther. There needs to be an explicit prohibition on the practice of law enforcement profiling motorcyclists purely because of their association or what they're wearing. And there also needs to be a mechanism of relief, so if you're a victim of motorcycle profiling, you have a legitimate mechanism in the courts to seek monetary and other forms of relief to stop the practice from occurring. Just like my voice being cut off. Oh, the cord might be loose. Okay, I'll hold it tight. So the bottom line is, you have what you need. You have an individual that exists in every district in the state of Texas probably before us. There's no reason why with just this grassroots movement, we can't gain access to every legislator in the State House. I believe that we're all here for a reason. And I believe we're all here for a reason. And I believe the most important reason is to pass comprehensive protections so our culture continues to survive. They're clearly coming after us. all motorcycle clubs. You might think it's just a certain percentage of motorcycle clubs, but it's all motorcycle clubs. And if you don't stand with everyone, when they're gone, there will be no one left to stand next to you. So let's unite. Let's pass the next motorcycle profiling bill in America, and let's make that the state of Texas. And I'm here at your disposal. I would do everything I can to help you, up to returning and testifying if that's necessary. Thank you for having me. I'm very impressed by this community, and you can get this done if you decide to.
Yeah.
Thank you, Deputy. Okay. No? Okay. I'd like to get Dr. Will Delaney up here.
Thank you, everybody. Can you hear me? Okay, so I'm here today to talk to you as an academic about what's happening in the motorcycle community with profiling, specifically with federal, state, and local task forces that are in effect denying our rights. I'm here to tell you a very quick story about something that just happened, and maybe make a call out there to try to get some help from the media and from fellow academics to expose systematic and widespread abuse in our system. Okay, I'm an ethnographer. It's kind of like an anthropologist, and the American Anthropological Association requires us to do something when the people that we're trying to understand are being done wrong, and we're being done very wrong, okay? So here's the story. Mongols Motorcycle Club, this year, on their world run, they get pulled over, they get searched, and a couple guys get arrested for slung shots. I'm seeing about 1,000 slung shots in the audience right now, by the way. And by that I mean the wallet, the chains on your wallets, the braided keychains that you have, clearly not weapons, all right? 2 men get arrested, illegal weapons charges, felonies. They get taken into custody. They get their motorcycles impounded. And where did this take place? It took place on the Mongols' world run. Okay, they're crossing the border south of San Diego, California, and where they get pulled over is south of the U.S. border, but still somehow north of the Mexican border. There's 1,000 feet if you go there and look at that space that is legally really kind of iffy. And there, a certain, let's just say special agent who's known for his abuse in our community, had that task force, coordinated through Border Patrol, through the local San Diego sheriff. Closer.
Mike.
Okay, better?
Yeah.
You don't want me to start over, do you? No. Okay, good.
Be loud
Where
and
was I?
proud.
Oh, San Diego. Okay, so there's 1,000 feet of space where the Mexican federales have nothing to do with it, and these guys get to operate with impunity. You know what they found from an ethnographer's perspective? They found nothing. The 2 men were acquitted at trial. The jury and the judge and everybody in that room saw it for what it was, BS. But here's the thing. Even though these men were acquitted, their lives are fundamentally altered, okay? They've got arrest records. And if you are a federal or a state employee, or if you want to be or you want benefits, you might be surprised that there are forms that you have to acknowledge whether you've been arrested, not convicted. Okay, let's also talk about they had to go through a bondsman. That's 10%. And they set their bonds jacked up at $120,000. You don't get your money back from a bondsman after you're acquitted. You don't get your money back from the storage and the impound fees. You don't get your money back from lost time. These men chose to not disclose to their families because they have children. They have children in school systems. And the one thing that I would like the media to understand about our community is we're people just like you. We just take stuff a whole lot more seriously, like our rights, okay? And that, you know, there is a human cost, there's a monetary cost, but there's also a societal cost, because these men also lived on streets that were in neighborhoods of which they are a part. And their good names are now trashed and tarnished for all time. Okay, it has to stop. Why is it going on? I argue it's careerism. It's not justice. And by careerism, I mean these people, whether you're a cop or a prosecuting attorney or even an investigator, you get a massive career catapult when you bust a big club. Okay? Sergeant Swanton, our good buddy from Waco, what did he try to do right after that? He tried to run for office. If media and other scholars will pay attention, follow the money, follow the careers, and you're going to see careerism in action. You're going to see us labeled as domestic terrorists so that these departments can get Homeland Security dollars in order to further predate upon us. The people who, by the way, I'm looking at a whole lot of veterans, I'm one, and I know, right? And so the very people that fight and provide that freedom, which is not free, are being denied their freedom from their federal government. We can't have this anymore, okay? It's got to be a function of also training, not just hold accountability, but people who go through the police academy aren't biker haters originally. Many, we hope, right? We need good cops. I'm not saying we hate cops, we need them. But I'm saying there's an indoctrination process akin to basic military training where folks are getting indoctrinated in and they see these symbols and they're told that means you're a bad guy. And so there's an old saying that if the only tool you have is a hammer, everything looks like a nail. And so we've got a bunch of cops that are given hammers and they're just knocking the snot out of every nail they see. No more, okay? I can talk about this for days and days, and I will be. But if you're out there in the crowd and you don't have the money for an attorney and you have to deal with a public defender, we all know the reality. Public defenders are overworked. They don't have the resources they need. And frankly, what they do most of the time is just deal make. Well, the Motorcycle Profiling Project, I'm joining that movement, and I will provide subject matter expert witness testimony, analysis, writing, recommendations, strategy, and tactics for anybody out here for free. And so Double D will bring on his media engagement strategy, and we also got a guy who's a great defense investigator. So we do this because it's the right thing. Everyone here has the power to fight back. That's what Double D just said. Let's do it. Can I get a hooah?
Yeah!
Hey, thank you. Now I'd like to call up Russell Radke. He's the International Vice President of Soldiers for Jesus Motorcycle Club, and he's the motorcycle liaison for the MRF.
Thank you. Thank you. Can everybody hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah!
All right, what they like to call me is the club dude in Washington, D.C. I don't know why. It's a good day to be a Texan, amen?
Yeah!
It's a good day to be an American. We're all in this battle together. There's people up here standing today that are from all over the country, and there's a reason we're all fighting the same fight. In Washington, D.C., there's an organization, if you don't know about them, they're called Motorcycle Riders Foundation. They've been around since the 80s. They are driven by sustaining membership, which means for $100 a year, your organization can have a direct voice in Washington on what gets represented, what gets fought for, and what your needs and your wants are. There's a lot of things that they do that most people don't understand. When y'all were hearing about the EPA stuff back in the 90s and Tier 1 and Tier 2 and Tier 3, those things were all supposed to have been done by the year 2000, which means the stuff that's going on in California, where you can't even change the exhaust pipe on your motorcycle, would have been done 10 years ago, 15 years ago, if it wasn't for an organization like the MRF. Unfortunately, they're still getting away with it, but it took them an extra 20 years. They're an organization that also monitors and stays on top of everything that comes across legislation that has anything to do with motorcycles. And a lot of it doesn't affect you guys, but believe it or not, a lot does. From your insurance plans, to what kind of motorcycle you ride, to helmets. And they've been fighting for you every day. One of the other things that they do is they monitor and stay on top of all those acronyms like NHTSA and DOT and EPA, you know, all those four-letter words that we have to deal with. Lately, the FAST Act bill, which y'all are familiar with that's the funding, the federal funding of motorcycle checkpoints for pulling over and stopping and checking out y'all when you're driving down the road. You primarily, nobody else. Which again is against our civil rights, amen? Amen. Last but not least, one of the big things that has been taken on by the MRF is anti-profiling on a national level. This affects all of us. We all need to plug in. I pledge to everybody that you get involved with the MRF. Everything costs money, you know how that is. But whether it's a little or a lot, we're fighting the fight in DC, and we're fighting for you guys. In DC, they got one of these places. Y'all know this is your house, right?
Yeah!
I said, y'all know this is your house, right?
Yeah!
Well, we got one of these in Washington, D.C., and guess what? That's your house, too. Let's do something.
Yeah!
Thank you, Russell. Jeff Churchill. This is my friend Dos Chuchillos. He's a Calavera. He is the chairman of Region 8 down in Corpus. Also, he is a state lieutenant commander of the U.S. Defenders. I've been working with him for a long time. I love you.
There's a word that's been said here a few times today. And I'm going to ask you, what state is this?
Texas!
What state is this?
Texas!
What state is this?
Texas!
I'm about to introduce you to a man who is a Texan, born and bred, who's a warrior, a fighter. And I'm going to tell you something. Today we stand on hallowed ground right here. This is hallowed ground, but I got news for you. From the Red River to the Rio Grande, from the Panhandle to the Gulf of Mexico, it's all hallowed ground to me as a Texan. Where do we live?
Texas!
This man I'm going to introduce to you here in a moment, I don't see him just being a Nueces County District Attorney someday. I see us putting him in one of these offices right here.
Yeah.
When you watch him and you listen to him and you know him like we do, you're going to understand he is a warrior of the people. He wasn't born with a silver spoon in his mouth. I know his roots and his background. I know his parents. He's my brother. He's your brother. He's every man's brother. He's a fighter. And we're blessed to have him in South Texas. And I give you my brother, Calavera Smoke, also known as Mr. Nueces County District Attorney, Mark Gonzalez.
That is a hard act to follow. Like you said, my name is Mark Gonzalez. I'm Smoke Calavera from Alice, also known as District Attorney for Nueces County. I'm very humbled and honored to speak to you guys here today and let you know of the great things that we are doing in Nueces County. And it's my first time here at the Capitol, and we're doing so in such great fashion. If you don't think they're listening, they are. They're up there and they're listening to us because we are loud, we are proud, and we are organized. And that's what it takes to get your message across. That's what it takes to get guys like me into office. Can you believe that? I'm the District Attorney for Nueces County. You know, every time I get asked to speak at different places, and I get most nervous when I see my brothers and my sisters and people that I admire who are fighting the fight. Luckily, I didn't write anything down, so I'm not gonna really worry about it. But as I said, I won by 1,800 votes this go around. And if it wouldn't have been for the biker community, I don't think I would have a job. I'd still be a defense attorney, but I wouldn't have a job. But it starts at home. That's the power that you have here when you unite. You have that power to get your people in there, your voice heard. I know we have some things regarding profiling. I want to let you in on the story. Everyone's telling stories here today. So I live in Corpus, and I was headed to Laredo. And on the way, I got pulled over speeding. This is a funny story. I wasn't on my bike. I was with my girlfriend. She had to go to work. And SO pulled me out, was an officer, and, you know, and he put me to the back. And I hadn't been pulled out of a car in quite some time. Didn't happen in Nueces County. Most law enforcement know who I am there. Headed to Laredo, pulls me out, has me back, you know, spread, searching me for weapons, searching everything. And he says, Mr. Gonzalez, why are you coming up as a gang member? And I got offended because I was running for office, and I said, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm not a gang member. I'm a Calavera. We're a family club. I said, we're no different than the Shriners or the Rotary Club. We give to kids. We have toy drives. We believe in helping our brothers. I said, so I'm offended. And I said, and to be honest with you, if I win next week, I might be the district attorney. He said, well, you might want to slow it down because I don't want to take the new district attorney to jail. I said, yes, sir, and I went about my business. After I won the election, back to Laredo. I was going a little bit fast again. So I got pulled over, and typically when I get pulled over, I know the routine. I shut the engine down, roll down both windows, put my hands out of the window, and make sure that, you know, the officers, they don't know who we are. Just so that way everybody's comfortable. Sheriff gets up there, and I said, before you go back there, I want you to know something. I said 2 things. 1, it's going to come up that I'm a gang member. And number 2, I'm the new DA for Nueces County, so take it however you like it. He said, Mr. Gonzalez, I don't see no reason to give you a citation, go about your way. So what that means to me is you have to educate people. Profiling is something that it isn't right. You know, it's not good, especially some of these people that have been to jail over something that they wear on their back or something that had nothing but political gains. You know, it ruins their lives. When you can't work for a week or you can't work for 2 weeks, you can lose your house, you can lose your family, you can lose everything. So when that happens, something has to be done. And I can tell you that in Nueces County, something has been done. We've had issues before in the past, but it's mostly about education. Letting them know what we're doing, what we're about. Once you get to know someone, sometimes drink a beer with somebody, you get to know them, and then the fear is not there. And that's what I would say is kind of the problem right now. There's a fear because of the unknown. But if we educate everyone, if we unite and we continue this fight, then you're going to have more people in office. As I said before, I'm so glad to be here and to spread this message that your voice is so strong. The power that you have is enormous. It's huge to get a guy like me elected as your new district attorney for Nueces County. And I say all of y'all, because I hope you go down to my county and you know that you have a brother there. I hope that you go down to my county, and if you have your CHL and you have your weapon on you, that you will not be seen as a criminal, that you will not be seen as a gang member, that you will be there with open arms as a brother. So share that message, but more importantly, go out and vote. If you do not vote, nothing's going to change. We can all get together and ride to the Capitol, but if you don't go vote, it doesn't matter. If you don't take your friends to vote, it doesn't matter, because it actually works. I am proof here as I stand before you in front of this beautiful building that I never thought I would ever have the opportunity to come and actually speak to a good-looking bunch of guys like here today. But it's true, it works. So unite, make sure that you spread your message, and be sure to educate people. Most guys here will give you the shirt off their back. They're the best group of people that I have ever been around and blessed to be a part of. So I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for allowing me to speak here. And there's I forgot to say some of the good stuff we're doing in Nueces County. So, first week in office, we didn't decriminalize marijuana, but what we did was we used our discretion. So if you're caught in Corpus Christi or Nueces County and it's personal use, your case will get dismissed. Now, hold on. Now, for it to get dismissed, typically it'll be a $250 fine. Any class, online, it could be any kind of drug class, your case gets dismissed. One time or 100 times, it doesn't matter to me. My office will dismiss your case. Now, if you cannot afford the $250, my personal opinion, you can probably afford some pot, you can probably afford my fine. But if you cannot afford, you have the opportunity to do 25 community service hours. So those are some of the positive changes that I can do immediately. Day one in office, we're doing positive things like that. And we're also trying to alleviate some of the citations which are allowed for non-arrest. Because the jails are crowded with people that sometimes do not belong there. And we got guys that need to be there. And those are the ones that have to stay in there. So the people that don't, we don't need to keep them any longer than they should be and go about their business. Law enforcement at first, and even some people, they're like, man, who is this guy? You're stuck with me for 4 years. For 4 years, I'm there. And they're apprehensive because maybe of the way I look, or the way I talk, or what I wear on my back. But once they get to know me, and we do the right thing, that fear goes away, and they say, you know what, he might be a little rough on the edges, but he's doing the right thing, he's a good person, and he's doing what's good for the community. That's the message that I bring here today. Regarding that, other than the marijuana change that we've made, we're just making sure that any cases that go forward, if you're wearing your colors and you have a CHO, which is something that you have to go through, everyone knows here who has that. You have to go through background, training, get qualified, and then you're able to carry. So I want to decriminalize that as well. If that's the case and you're brought in front of my court, that's not going to happen. We had a case like that when I was a defense attorney, where one of my brothers, the guy had been, worked at the refineries, had another job, and he got pulled over and he had his weapon on him, which was a CHL. Ultimately, the district attorney then, which was the prior administration, had to dismiss the case. I didn't want this dismissal. I wanted a refusal. I wanted to go to trial so that way we can show that the community says we're not a gang member. I don't know. I think now that I'm in office, hopefully I can speak to someone and they may be able to take that off, but I don't think so. So every time I get pulled over from here on out, I'm saying, look, you're going to come up as gang, but also I'm the DA, so you take it how you want it. Thank you guys for allowing me to speak in front of you. I'm be proud to be here, whether I'm the DA for the next 4 years or the DA for 8 years or ever held office in here. I'll always be a Calavera and I'll always be a biker. Thank you.
That's what you can do if you go vote. Anybody in your town that you think's a dumbass, get somebody like him to replace him. I'm going to tell you something. I talked to my friend and mentor just before I came up here. And he told me to tell you guys, juntos ganamos. Together we win. If we don't stay together, we're finished. But they can't stand the pressure if you lean on them. That's how that works. This is your house. I want to thank all the speakers, everybody that is here today. This is amazing. You know, you ought to see the view from up here. It's awesome. You guys are amazing. It was nice yesterday. Bone, where you at? Bone did a great job yesterday. If you were at the Roadhouse, those of you that were know what took place there. And this is your house. Come on, everybody, let's go in there.